Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're talking about Bitcoin and the bull market support band. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Remember, we do have the sale on the premium list. We're going to end that in about 5 days, so make sure you guys check that out if you want access to weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, and more. You will find that in the description below. Again, the sale will end in about 5 days, so lock in the low rate. Let's go ahead and jump in. So we have another weekly close. The bull market support band has been updated. The 20-week SMA is now coming in at a very modest $42,464. The 21-week EMA now is at $42,113. Okay, so both of them are still converging to each other. Okay, you can sort of see that the 21-week EMA is likely going to cross the 20-week SMA in the next week. Now, to get an idea of what the 20-week SMA should continue to do for the next week, we can go back and look 20 weeks ago. 20 weeks ago, the price of Bitcoin was trading for a very modest $59,000. So as long as we're closing below that level, then we would expect the 20-week SMA to continue to drop down. If, on the other hand, Bitcoin has some crazy candle that takes us above 59K this week, then we might see something different happen. But I'm speculating that we probably will close the week below 59K, although it's certainly possible that Bitcoin surprises us all. And if so, then the 20-week SMA is likely going to continue slightly dropping, maybe closer to 42K. Right now it's at 42.4, 42.5, whatever, it depends on the exchange. But it'll be closer to 42K more than likely by next week. Okay. Now, if you guys remember, back in May and June and July, I told you that one day we're gonna go back above the 20 week, right? And at the very least, it'll be a relief rally. At the very least, okay. And we look now at the 20 week and say, all right, well, the price of Bitcoin is approximately 17 or 18% above the 21 week EMA, and maybe a little bit less above the 20 week SMA, but something like that, right? 17% or so. So the rally from the bottom is now 74%, okay? A very modest 74%. And one of the things I told you guys back then is that for the health of the market, when we do get above the 20 week, we know that getting above the 20 week, it can extend a little bit, right? Once you're above it, a lot of times you see it go above a decent amount, right? I mean, let's just go take a look, right? Don't take my word for it. Here we crossed the 20 week and we extended above it before coming back down to test the 20 week as support. Obviously this time we did not hold it, but we went above it by about 27% from when we crossed it, okay? And this one, right now, we are above it. From when we crossed it, we're now above it about 15% or so. From the current 20 week SMA, we're above it by about 18%. So it's not like we haven't rallied above the 20 week before. We've seen this before. But one of the things I told you guys over the summer is that for the health of the market, we would like to come back down to test the 20 week as support. Okay? And I told you guys back then that when I told you that, that in the future, when that time comes, and I tell you it would be good for us to go down to test the 20 week, I said back then that there's going to be people that don't like that, right? And this was when we were trading at like 30 to 35K. I was like, there's going to be people that don't like that. And here we are, we're trading at 50K. Could we go above this? Of course we could. Bitcoin can do whatever it wants. We don't even have to test the 20 week, right? I mean, in 2019, we didn't test it. We also didn't put any all-time highs, but we still, we never tested the 20 week after going above it until months later, and we felt to hold it as support. So what I'm saying is that, again, I'm not saying what will happen, what will not happen. I'm just saying that for the health of the market, it would be ideal for Bitcoin to test the 20 week before getting too far extended above it. And the reason I say that is because if it gets too far extended above it, then it makes it less likely to hold in the event that we come back down and test it, okay? So for instance, in 2019, we went above it and we were unable to hold it. And we went a long time without actually testing it. Over here, we actually did test it. We actually did test it and it fueled this rally. If we don't test it, okay, so imagine we don't test the 20 week and we continue to just climb, then it would make me less confident on our ability to hold it whenever we do test it. Okay, so what I will hope for, Ben, unfortunately, I don't always get what I want, but what I would hope for would be that we test the 20-week before moving too much higher. Okay, now 51K, 52K, maybe 55K. I think these are fine. But if we're going to 70 or 80K without testing it, then it does make me concerned again, like I was over here, about, hey, can we actually hold it, or are we too far gone to hold it? And it's not fun being too far gone to hold it, right? I mean, it's nice when you can just come and test it every once in a while and hold it as support. Confirm that it's support, confirm that we're there, we have that support we need to continue higher, and then continue higher. This is what we'd like to see. Just testing the 20-week over and over and over. This is the ideal scenario. Obviously, this cycle is going to throw us curveballs. I mean, as we speculated even as early as December that this looked like it could be a potential double peak cycle because of how quickly we were moving up in October, November, December. We said, all right, guys, it looks like it could be similar to 2013, and so far it continues to be similar to 2013. And in 2013, we didn't really spend a whole lot of time testing the 20-week moving average. With that said, for the health of the market, I would like to see the 20-week tested at some point in September or October. Okay. Now, September tends to not be a great month for Bitcoin. If you go back and look at the average returns in September, it tends to not be that great. And we're now looking at 5 green candles in a row that are for Bitcoin, and potentially a 6th one if we close this week in the green. We're looking at 6 weeks in a row, if that plays out, if we close the week above 49.3. And going into the worst month of the year, on average, historically, that would be kind of interesting to say have 6 greens in a row going into the worst returns Bitcoin tends to have in September. And I would say it's sort of setting up for a typical September pullback. And that, if it plays out, will be a critical test for the health of the market. Can we hold the 20-week moving average if we dump back down to it? And if we do dump back down to it and it's at like 42K or something, then everyone's going to be super bearish again, even though 42K was an amazing price to be at just a few weeks ago. But that's just something to keep in mind. All right, something to keep in mind. If we don't test the 20-week, which is a distinct possibility, we've seen that happen before. 2019 was a great example of us just not testing the 20-week for months, okay? If we don't test it and we continue moving up, then I would say the likelihood of us holding it as support whenever that comes is not very high. And when that happens, you can get some of those nasty dumps like we just saw, like a 55% drop by Bitcoin. If you take it from, say, the top over here all the way down to this bottom, you're looking at around a 55% drop. So if we don't test it and we continue to move higher, maybe we put in new all-time highs, maybe we go to 70K, 80K, 90K, 100K, I don't know, right? I don't know. I think it'd be more likely that we don't hold it as support if we're not able to get that test in within the next, say, month or so. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at the market. Hopefully we can test that 20-week at some point. If not, then put on your rally caps because we'll take what we get and we'll see Bitcoin likely trend higher relatively quickly. Maybe take out the all-time high and the dominance of Bitcoin would likely shoot up very, very quickly in that scenario. So we'll keep an eye on things, and see if we are able to hold 20-week as support in the event that we do test it. And if we do hold it as support, then that's the best of both worlds, right? We're above the 20-week, holding it as support, put on your metaphorical laser eyes, we're going to 100K. If we don't test it as support, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious, I think, on where things are if we're unable to at least test it as support sometime within, say, like the next 5 weeks or so. Okay, so a lot can happen in 5 weeks. I mean, this week, for instance, the price of Bitcoin could go up, another 5-10% or something, get us to 55K, something like that. And I still don't think we're too far gone. Where we become too far gone to hold the 20-week is if we're going 70, 80, 90K or something without testing it as support. And if that happens, you could see a repeat scenario of what we saw back in May. I would personally like to avoid a repeat scenario of what we saw back in May, where we dropped 55%. Therefore, testing the 20-week sooner rather than later, I think would be a little bit better, and then we can move up from there. That's my outlook on the market. Again, I know a lot of people would rather us just go straight up, and there's also a decent chance we do that. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Remember to check out the sale on the premium list if you want to know how I am navigating these markets. Thank you for tuning in. Click the bell icon to turn on your notifications, and I will see you next time. Bye.